Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our webinar, on EBSCO resources, especially for K-12 members. My name is Sarah Gold, and I am one of the community liaisons at WiLS, working primarily with K-12 and public members. So I have had the pleasure of working with Jim Jacobson, who is the regional sales manager at EBSCO for, I think it's double digits now. It might even be like not really approaching a quarter of a century, but it's been a while. And Jim knows the ins and outs of resources, EBSCO resources for our K-12 members. And he also works with the BadgerLink team. So he provides a really good bridge to resources that are available in BadgerLink, which we won't be focusing on today, but he can certainly share supplemental materials that are a good complement to the resources in BadgerLink. Just a few housekeeping tools. This webinar is being recorded, and once we clean it up, we will go ahead and share it out to all registrants. And then, as always, please feel free to reach out either to the co-op team at coop@wils.org or to Jim, especially regarding the resources that he is talking about today. So thank you so much, Jim, for joining us, and I will go ahead and turn it over to you.
Sounds good. Well, thanks, Sarah. Yeah, it's been a hot minute since I joined EBSCO. So I'm the account manager for all of Wisconsin in the K-12 and also the public library sector. So it's really nice when I have an opportunity, and I appreciate Will's inviting me in to speak on these resources that we have available. So kind of what I'd like to do today is just go through a PowerPoint that'll make sure that we optimize the time and give the overview of the types of resources that we have available. As Sarah said, I work very closely not only with WiLS, but also with BadgerLink. In fact, just met with them this morning. So it was nice to catch up with Ben and his team on some of these resources. And I'll also be at WEMTA. So for those of you that'll be attending, I'll be rolling in there on Sunday, and I'll be at the booth pretty much through the whole conference. So if you do have any questions, by all means, let me know. So like I said, I am your account manager. I cover all things EBSCO. So what I've put together is just a PowerPoint. I'll start sharing that with you. So just let me know when you can see the team, see the actual resource itself.
Looks good.
Okay. Um, so I will just click. So what EBSCO really does, our goal is to make sure that students get the resources and the trusted information in a safe environment. So we work very closely with educators throughout the world, actually. We're an international company to make sure that our content is trustworthy, it's available, and most importantly, easy to use. So kind of a little bit about how EBSCO goes about doing this. One of the things that's most important, and sometimes one of the biggest questions I get, is where do we get our content? EBSCO is an aggregator. So what we do is we work with publishers around the world to get the best quality content from publishers of magazines and journals for their appropriate areas and topics of expertise. So for primary search, we work with Cricket and Ranger Rick and Highlight and a number of different publications like that. That's why we have all of the different databases broken down the way we do. And we also make that research a key component. So we know that there's different age groups, there's different ways. So what's really nice is the state of Wisconsin offers you resources that takes you pretty much from crayons to, master's degree graduation. We've got something for everyone in those areas. And we also work very closely with those that are creating the standards. So we have curriculum guides. We've got a number of different citation tools in our interfaces and things like that to make sure that the types of content that we're providing not only helps students discover more in their world, but that it's also relevant at each age, whether you're learning to read or reading to learn, you really have an idea of what your teachers are asking for. You can bring it right into your LMS systems integration, or you can also through LTI have a number of different access points. And what's really nice is all that support, all those resources are free to you when you're working through either BadgerLink. So through the state, you've got access to 58 different learning resources. And what's really nice is there's 5 different age appropriate interfaces, whether you use Explora to find that out or EBSCO host. And all of this is available to you. So each of your individual schools, whether it's an elementary school or a middle school or a high school, are all customers of ours. So depending on what you need from a support standpoint, we can handle it. Just let us know, and I'll give you some information on who that is and where that's located a little bit later in this presentation. One of the biggest things that I like to point out through BadgerLink is that there is a number of teacher and educator tools also. So when you're looking at, the different teaching resources that are available, ERIC that provides, millions of records, and those teacher-oriented resources to help you understand your students, to help you get certifications, those are already available to you. I won't go into each of those individually, but if you do have any questions, BadgerLink has done a really nice job of breaking those out for you. They have an A to Z, but they also have individual areas that you can look to. We also work with those that are creating curriculum standards, and it's at the national level, but it's also at the state level also. So as you can see from this one focuses in on Texas, what the standard is, and we make sure that we integrate those into each of our databases. The one area that people get confused on, especially when they're navigating through either BadgerLink or some of our products, is Explora. Explora is not a database, it's actually an interface. And that's why we have 3 of them available on the BadgerLink site. The first one is, actually there's 4, I stand corrected. Um, one of them is for the public libraries because it has access to all of our content that's available. So if you would open that particular general interest Explorer, you would see something like 48 resources that it's searching when you're using that. And Explorer is a great interface because it searches all of the databases that you have in that particular, we call them profiles, but your school can have an individually set profile so that you get the access that you're looking for at the school level or at the district level. But these interfaces are really nice because they are searching those databases all at the same time. So it's somewhat of a Google-esque experience. The Explorer interface I'll show a little bit later in a screenshot, but it does a great job of being searchable and really using keywords. And we've also included a new natural language aspect, which makes it more conversational. Our big goal there is to make sure that when people are using Explora, they don't have to necessarily learn an interface. It's very intuitive. It makes people understand that, hey, if I type in the, what I'm looking for in this big search box, I'm going to get some results. You'll also notice on this particular screenshot that there's going to be a new Ask Explora. So if you're using that now, it's really an extension of our natural language search, which then you don't have to have Boolean searching. You don't have to be extremely specific on what you're asking to find relative results. Um, A number of other key resources that people often are looking for, like I had mentioned, for the littles, primary and middle search are really the databases that you'd want to use in those environments because they've got great publishers. Ranger Rick is full of pictures. And what we're doing, like I said, we're an aggregator. So we're literally taking what's in the printed magazine form, breaking them down into the article level, and then providing those to you through the database. So if you're looking up raccoons or if you're looking up dogs, those type of things, that's the article results that you'd be seeing. But we're also very much involved with academia. So what's really nice is the EBSCO products that your high school and middle school students are using are also the exact same ones that they'd be using in college. So on the more advanced sides, we've got Academic Search Premier, Advanced Placement Source, History Reference, Literary Science, Points of View, which is a debate type resource. So it really covers the gamut of everything that your students would need for the curriculum that you have in Wisconsin. What we're getting together to get today for is to make sure that you understand that they're providing a great base, though. The resources that are provided in Wisconsin are fantastic, but a lot of times it's at the base level. So I'll take an example of um, uh, some of the premieres. So in EBSCO, when you see something within BadgerLink that says Premier, that's at the very lowest. We usually have about 4 different levels of content that are available. And each comes with additional content. It comes with more videos, but it also comes with a unique interface when you get to the Ultimates level. So last year, about this time, we introduced the Ultimates. And what's really nice is we're working with WiLS to bring those ultimate packages to you in a very cost-effective manner. So when you're saying to yourself, why would I update or upgrade the EBSCO products when it's already provided through the state? That's one of the main reasons is because we have the premier, so it goes elite, premier, complete, and then to the ultimate. So that's kind of the different levels that we provide. So you can imagine that the University of Wisconsin or the University of Oshkosh, Stevens Point, they're actually bringing the ultimates into their student advisory area because they need more content to stay not only relevant, but also competitive. So that's why we continually increase and update not only the publishers that we work with, but the amount of content. A few things that you should know is EBSCO does not charge for duplication. So the reason that we can offer some great and heavily discounted pricing for these upgrades is the fact that you already have access to the base unit. We don't charge for the duplication that would be involved in moving from one database level to the next. So say going from a complete to an ultimate, for instance. So we would only charge for that upgrade amount. The other nice thing is you're not getting duplication within, you're not charged for duplication within different databases. So for instance, some of our competitors, if you have 5 or 6 of their databases, maybe 40 to 45% of the information that's found in one database is also duplicated in another database. So as you're talking with your vendors, make sure you understand what's included. If ever you would be interested, we can always provide the actual title lists for all of our databases. We're very transparent from that standpoint. We would love to share the publishers and also the topics that they're covered, along with any start and stop dates. So most of our publishers provide us with full text, which is either available in an HTML or also a PDF format. And you have access to the actual articles and the metadata that were brought forward in those harvested documents. So when I say not charging for duplication, again, it's not duplication from moving from one to the next in the instance of like a complete to an ultimate, but also if that same information is found in a certain database that you had through BadgerLink, you're also not going to be charged if it's found somewhere else. The other nice thing is it's helping your students become college ready. These EBSCO databases are heavily used in universities and colleges. So a lot of our competitors, there's only a couple where they're really prominent within the college and university area. But if you have History Reference Ultimate, that's going to be the same exact Ultimate package that's used in the universities too. Helps on a couple fronts. First, you're not having to actually spend a lot of time training interfaces. It's sometimes a really big culture shock when somebody goes from one database vendor to another. We're getting a little better on that front because a lot of folks, it's kind of nice. It's more graphical, but EBSCO spends a lot of time working with accessibility coaches and professionals, and also keeping track of trends. You know, how are people using the internet to search? Um, those are big areas that we focus on when we're making usability studies, and also new accessibility. Rest assured that we're going to be more than ready for it when April rolls around, because we're an international company. So in a lot of cases, we're already at the 2.1 WIAC level, but we're also already working on 2.2. But again, it's nice to know that it's going to be heavily discounted and you're going to get the most relevant and informative information. The other thing to ask other vendors is how much embargoes impact the relevancy and the timeliness of their information. Some databases have up to 2 years where they cannot actually use the content with the publishers they have because the 2-year embargo makes a lot of that information pretty much um, tough to use because there's been so many changes. So if it's already been delayed by 2 years, you can imagine it's really nice to have information that's updated on a monthly basis because a new magazine came out. I'll take History Reference Ultimate, for instance. This would be an upgrade to the history reference source that's available through BadgerLink. What's really nice is we only have one history database. You don't have to go to two different databases to not only find US history, but also then the rest of the history of the world. You'll see on the right side of the screen, this is what the interface really looks like. It's got featured content. You can have a number of different topics, but it also shows great use of videos. Here's kind of an example. I won't go through all of them, but this is one of those things where history reference source, which is provided, has a number of great resources. So when we're looking at biographies, there's 44,000, almost 45,000. Primary source documents, 56,000. Active full text periodicals, you can read what's on the screen. But the really nice thing is if you would upgrade to an Ultimate, not only are you not paying for that base history reference source, you're only paying for the upgrade, but it has so much more information. What's really nice, this also points out that the primary source documents are pretty much the same. There's only a few extras. So you're still getting excellent information from the history reference source base unit, but you do get so much more, especially in the videos area when you do an upgrade to the history reference ultimate. When we're comparing ourselves against the competition, that's something that we do all the time. Here's something that you can just take a look at. When you're looking at in context US history and in the world combined, this is how we stack up with not only history reference source, but then also the addition of what you'd be getting with an ultimate package. The user experience, that again, it speaks to the information and research that we do working with individuals. So from a visual and dynamic discipline standpoint, landing pages, just general usability, we have to do these on a normal basis because we're constantly going out for RFPs through the state. And that's why we've been a trusted partner for the state of Wisconsin. Every 3 to 5 years, they go out and look at these particular types of things. So we always have to be on top of our game to make sure that we're staying relevant and that we're bringing the types of usage to the table that people expect. That's why when I'm visiting different schools, which I do in Wisconsin, I live right here in the Appleton area, I'm happy to go over and kind of work on strategy. I do cover 5 states. I go from Wisconsin over to Michigan, but I get a lot of, peer interaction. It's like, well, how do you work with this? How does this get more usage? We're trying to do this. I can work with you on those strategy sides too. Because even at the state level, you're already getting outstanding content. It's just if you're looking at duplication, if you have specific areas of focus, like maybe your school really focuses on business, or maybe it's very in tune with debate club or those type of things. It's always better to have more and better information than it is just to have more and different interfaces. So I'd challenge your vendors to come to the table, be transparent, answer your questions on things like the amount of duplication in the different databases that you'd be looking at, and also embargoes and things that really impact your spend. Um, and again, history, using history reference ultimate as the example, but it would be the same for science. It would be the same for biographies. Um, it really gives you an access to some outstanding publishers, and it covers all the gamut. In our pro-con points of view, it goes from the left to the center to the right. You get an access information to all of the different arguments. It also shows you ways to put those into action. What should I be looking for? And guides are built right in along with, like I mentioned earlier, the curriculum standards. Again, speaking to the content itself, defining documents from across the world. It's not just US, it's history in general. And there again, using that Explora type interface, you can get very detailed in your searches when you're looking for that. Videos are a very powerful part of the Ultimates packages. So if you're looking for science, there's excellent videos for upgrading and a good case for that, even if it's experiments at the middle school level. Bio clips, 20th century crash course newsies, a lot of those are built into these upgraded Ultimate package resources. This is kind of a nice snapshot of how to use it. Again, the Explora search box is right there at the top. Considering we're looking at specifically History Reference Ultimate, if I really squint and you look in, it's looking at 3 different database resources. And that's because each of our reference sources include an ebook collection. So you not only get the database itself, but you also get a complementary ebook collection that comes along with it, which can really be helpful when you're putting that into your LMS and assigning specific chapters, those type of things. Your students don't have to go out and find or buy a book. They can actually use what you've already found for them. The Explore Topics area is fantastic. You can really explore the different researches. A lot of times what I'm hearing from not only advanced teachers, but also professors is the fact that kids just really are at a loss when they're trying to understand how to do research. The topics they choose are too broad. These type of interfaces, like these Explora interfaces, really give students the chance to drill down and continually work on fine tuning, finding the right type of topic, and then digging in a little deeper. As you can also see on this, the research tools that are available are the curriculum standards, citation help, research guides on how to help get, and as you drill down, it goes from early civilizations into ancient Egypt, into imperial China, those type of things. So you can really drill down and help your students understand not only that research completes the assignment, but it's fun. You can dig into these things and get to learn more about it. So those categories like I talked about. It's one interface that controls all of US history, all of world history. It goes into civics, sociology, historic figures. So there's a lot involved in the Ultimates package as you look at upgrading these things. Another thing when you're comparing against, I'll take Yale for instance here, the type of environment, the authentication, what is it able to do? Um, so the Ultimates checks all the boxes. If you want to improve the currency of existing content, improve coverage of existing topics, smart panels, you name it, our database interfaces are on top of it. And like I had mentioned, it also includes the ebook collection. So there's the ebook collection that's included with all of the resources that are through the state. They each have a complimentary ebook collection also. So we're already ahead of the game in Wisconsin. But there's even more, as I showed you on that slide earlier, that there's even more ebooks available through an upgrade of some sort. And these ebooks truly are the full book. It's not just A's and I's, it's the actual book. Mobile ready for a one-to-one environment, simultaneous access. What's really nice also, just kind of a note on that. A lot of times I'll hear um, a couple myths that are out there like, oh, you're great at the college level, but EBSCO is way too advanced for our students. That that's really one of those things that's kind of a misnomer because what's really interesting is the magazines that we're working with, a lot of the publishers right at a sixth grade level. So they're not hard to, I mean, there are definitely academic journals out there. But when you're working with these type of interfaces, you can search by Lexile group. You can actually fine tune it. You can bring the absolute best articles into your learning system. So if you're working with Clever or if you're working with ClassLink or some of the other systems that are out there, you can integrate your EBSCO resources right into those. And we've got a really nice support site along with my help that can get you there. Um, some of the other ebook collections that are available that you might be interested in checking out is the Cricket Media Collection for some of the littles, a religion collection, history, education. We do have specific ebook collections as upgrades to just about any topics that you might want. Because again, we work with the best colleges in the world. They've asked us to put these collections together. So if there is something that you're very interested in, we'd be happy to work with you on that. Another aspect that EBSCO has partnered with the state on is reader advisory. So a lot of times we get questions on um, what is Novelist? Because Novelist isn't just the name of the company, which is a subsidiary of and owned by EBSCO, but it's also in all of their products too. So the challenging part is, what am I working with? It says Novelist. So what the state provides is Novelist, the base unit. And what that is a reader advisory in most simple terms. It's a reader advisory database. So it has just fiction in it. So if you're ever looking, there's a Novelist and Novelist K8. So the Novelist K8 really caters to those that are in those age groups. It's got books that are more juvenile, students that are at a lower reading level, but it really focuses on those. Those same books are available in Novelist because you can search by, Lexile group, age group, the different types, the children's collections that are in Novelist are what pretty much feeds Novelist K8 its information also. But there is an upgrade. So for reader advisory, if you'd like to include nonfiction and also audiobooks, that's what Novelist Plus does. So a lot of times, especially for those that have parapro support, they're like, gosh, I don't even know what to have on my shelves. That's where using something like Novelist Plus can help you understand what's in your collection, not only from a print standpoint, but also from a nonfiction and an audiobook standpoint also. The other nice thing is the interface looks very similar to Explora now because of the accessibility factors that are coming up in April, and also just a general easier to use environment. We're bringing that same Explora look and feel and functionality into all of our databases. So you'll notice that Novelist will look a lot more like Explora and have a very similar functionality. And we're going to be changing that again. Novelist and also Explora are going to have a new look and feel in the June timeframe because we've again taken the advice of people that we've been working with, and we're going to give back more functionality and more screen space with the next upgrade. And we can explore that a little bit as it starts coming up. But there's a great set of articles on again on our support site Connect, EBSCO Connect, to keep you informed on that. And we also have really good newsletters that are available too. Right now, BadgerLink provides 3 core collections, which are really geared to cover the entire state's needs from a K-12 marketplace. It's got the children's core collections, it's got middle and junior high, and also the high school. But there's actually 7 levels of core collections. So if you are looking specifically for a Spanish collection, we've got core collections in Espanol. We also have a graphic novels core collection, the core collection for fiction, nonfiction. Those are all the upgrade opportunities. If you have a collection or you need help putting those collections or weeding what you have, core collections are fantastic because it gives you what are essential to have in your collection. It also says what should you get rid of. So there's 4 different levels. And all of our product training is available on our Connect site. So we don't charge for product training. We've got great tutorials, and I can help you better understand who to, how to sign up for a free support account if you'd like. And I'll have Sarah send out my information at the end of this presentation. We also, a couple years ago, unfortunately lost Learning Express. So with Learning Express, the library edition is Learning Express Complete, which is really a product that's available for the entire state's patrons. Specifically for high schools, though, we have Prep Step, which is kind of a smaller version. We do have schools that really enjoy using Learning Express Complete because they have a nursing program. They go on pathways. They like the aspect of having more access to different careers and things like that. But when we're working with high schools specifically, a lot of times they're like, we only want to make sure that it's what's pertinent to our current high school students, and we want to use it in our consultation environment. That's what Prep Step for High School really does. It helps students with better ACT scores. It helps with, one of the centers is specifically on how to explore for colleges, how to find different funding that's out there and available. It also helps with studying, just general study skills. How can I be better at studying? So soft skills are included in Prep Step, career exploration, just not to the big level that might be necessary at the public library level. So I just wanted to make note of Prep Step used to be available through the state. It's no longer available. So if it's still on your website, by all means, please take it down. Those links don't work anymore. But we can definitely help your students get better not only at studying and being better in school, but also to study for the ACT, SAT, NEAP exams, because it includes things like flashcards, example tests. You can take multiple tests and the tests change. They're not always exactly the same. So it can also track how they're doing. So Prep Step for High School is a fantastic college prep resource to have in your arsenal. I kind of went through a lot of these, but it's also very self-directed. So students can learn at their own pace. It's very secure. We are COPA compliant in all of our EBSCO resources. So rest assured that the information that kids are getting is safe and it's also very trusted. One of the things you also might consider if you do have a lot of different vendors is our EBSCO Discovery service. So EBSCO Discovery Service is one of two index-oriented searching environments that help bring all of your databases into one place. It truly is a very Google-esque experience for your students and for your staff because that one search box can search all of your databases, whether it comes from JSTOR or Gale or EBSCO. And what's really nice is it doesn't prioritize EBSCO databases. It's on a very fair and level playing field. It just brings the most relevant and current information to the top. It can also include ebooks and can also be integrated into your catalog. So if you're looking for not only ebooks and books, it can also give you an idea of what's available in your catalog also. But these are the types of tools. I mentioned that there's two. EBSCO Discovery Service is one, and that's the only one that brings it down into the K-12 environment. The other one is ProQuest's Alma. So when they get to college, they work very similarly to each other. The interfaces are very similar, but that's the new environment of research at the college level. It's no longer learning, okay, how to do Boolean searching, even though that type of searching is available in the advanced search area. It really does say, okay, here's the best information brought forth to you right away because everybody likes that immediacy. Another opportunity that we do share, especially for those that are learning to read, is digital magazines. The Flipster interface has won numerous designs. It's award-winning. It's easy to use. Whenever we actually change the format of it, it's really just based on, who's using it. So it's very easy to use with your one hand and a thumb. So very popular with a number of students because they're usually on their phone. So when they're looking at things, what's really nice is you have your choice. We've got a number of unique publishers, Time Magazine, Newsweek, Sports Illustrated. Those are all unique titles. And you can choose one title or you can choose a number of titles. Through the state, you already have a up to 50% discount on most of the titles that we have available. You can also try it. I'd be happy to set up trials for you, but you don't have to buy a whole package. And those packages can be very specific to support the either print magazines that you have on the rack or the different teacher magazines that they would like to use in their curriculum. Because you can order one, and like I said, you could order a number of them, but you're always going to be getting that nice discount on top of the published rates that are available. As I mentioned, a lot of them are going to be unique to the Flipster environment. So Cricket, Ranger Rick, Time Magazine, Consumer Reports, these are all very unique content that's only available through the EBSCO Flipster magazine subscription. So with that, that's kind of the end of my presentation. I'd be happy to do any sort of check-ins, if we would like to go somewhere. I'll stop sharing at this point because that's the end of the presentation, but I'll check in with Sarah. Is there any questions that came up during the presentation? Is there anything that we'd like to dig into a little deeper?
I don't see any questions in the chat. But people may have been waiting. I'll just give people a few minutes.
Okay. While we're waiting, I'll reshare because I had mentioned our Connect site. So I'd like to introduce that piece of it. Um, so let me know when you can see the Connect site. Okay, it's good. That took a little longer than I expected, but so like I had mentioned, all of our products are available and you have free support on, even, I'll say even, but especially on the BadgerLink resources that you have available. So the URL is connect.ebsco.com. It'll bring you to this particular site. One of the things I want to make sure you're aware of is right on the front page, it says need quick help. How do I contact EBSCO support? Because of the state package, all of your free resources that and I'll call them free, even though the taxpayers are paying for it. If you need help setting up LTI accessibility, putting it into your LMS, product training, anything like that, this is where you'd want to go. And if you want a direct line to our technical support, all you have to do is go to how do I contact support? And right here, it'll bring you not only to our phone numbers, but also to the links that you can register for that particular support. So I'll direct you to this. Click here to request an account. From there, it may or may not ask you for a birthday, but really that's just one of the COPA environment things that we have to do to make sure you're over 18 and not a student. But this is where you would go to request that support site. Like I mentioned, all of your individual schools are already individual accounts with EBSCO. So you have access to all of this information. Across the top, you'll notice that there's the home button that brings you brand news, that accessibility improvements, and this is going to be changing on a normal basis, especially through April. Any product help that you might need for updates and also release notes. So if you're ever curious about, what's changing, you can find it on this. Once you have that Connect account, you can also go to the EBSCO Academy, which is tutorials and videos on our products. So if you'd like to know how to use them, other things you can find in this environment is going to be setup guides, administrative guides, and also general how-tos. One of the other nice things is if you go to the tools and resources, you can actually create your own direct URLs if you'd like to put this in, access to even the BadgerLink information directly into your media center's website. You can make your own direct URLs. We also have search box builders. So suppose you want to, on one of the pages in your website, put a search box for novelist. We have a lot of schools that'll do that because they don't necessarily have librarian support. Students can look up their own books using Novelist and a direct link to that. But also you'll find promotional materials. So if you're looking for bookmarks, shelf talkers, those type of things, it's all broken down by the resource type. It's also by product name. And we've got a lot of web buttons and things like that that you can start promoting these resources with, all available for you. I know that BadgerLink does a really nice job of using some of these tools and putting them out there for you also. But rest assured, they're available even at a more individual basis for your schools if you'd like to put in your school logo or some of those colors and things like that. All you have to do is download them there. So yeah, I wanted to make sure you were aware of that. And that's
Jim, I
kind of my presentation. I'll stop sharing the Connect site. But yeah, again, this quick help area, tutorials on interfaces and such is a great thing to know about.
Thanks, Jim. I have a question. We often will get uh, requests for usage stats from media specialists that may not know their administrative logins for EBSCO. Is there, usually I end up emailing you. Is there a way that they can access those through um Connect, or how can you just kind of talk about if they
Sure.
need their administrative login, who should they contact? And then if they need usage stats, what's the most or tech support, what's the most efficient way for them to get that?
It's a great question. The most effective way is to have that Connect account because it's
Okay.
free and it attaches right to your email address of your institution. So from there, you've got a direct line to our tech support team, and they can actually either look up your password for EBSCO admin, or they can change it for you, or they can add you as a user.
Okay.
We're in the process of trying to streamline, but right now we truly do have three different areas for an EBSCO administrator to work within. One is the Connect site, which is
Hmm.
all technical support, any product information, tutorials, those type of things like I just showed you. The other one is EBSCO admin. So in EBSCO admin, the EBSCO admin administrator for the school or for the district, depending on how you're situated, really does have full control over adding profiles, adding and removing content all the way down to the article level. So, I mean, in this environment, it's nice to know that EBSCO has your back if you truly either want to remove a publisher title or if you want to remove certain articles, you have that control. Um, all of our databases do have a blacklist of profanity words and things like that,
Okay.
but we can help you with those. But in that EBSCO, that e-admin environment, that's where your reports would reside too.
Okay.
So for schools that are just going and having a few more clicks to use the Badger link from the Badger link website, they won't have necessarily individual user statistics. To get that,
Okay.
you almost have to have your own instance, but you
Mhm.
can have your own instance also. That's very easy
Okay.
to set up. So if you want to track those type of things, you certainly can.
Okay.
It's just a matter of having your own instance instead of going to the BadgerLink website, and they're fine with that. They don't really
Okay.
necessarily need those reports. They just want everybody to use it. But
Hmm.
that's where that e-admin account really comes in handy. And then the other one is our EBSCO um, Experience Manager. So what we're working towards is to merge all three of those things into one. The Experience Manager helps, it has about 60% of the profile information in it. And we're moving everything from eAdmin, which is kind of long in the tooth, into this more GUI interface we call the EBSCO Experience Manager. But if
Okay.
you'd like those, or if you don't have those accounts, you can request them either on the Connect site, like I showed you, or
Mhm.
reach out to Sarah or myself, and we'll make sure we get it done for you.
Great. That's awesome. Thank you. And we get
Sure,
very few requests for usage stats for EBSCO, probably because it is so easy to do, frankly.
sure.
Um, I did just put a a little message in the chat if you're interested in uh, trials or price quotes for any EBSCO products, including the products that Jim talked about today. I encourage you to use our price quote request form, which is linked here. This captures all of the information that we need to provide to Jim and his team so that we can seamlessly get you that information. And then as a reminder, we put the price quotes that we receive into your WiLS account, and then you get an email notification. And then, of course, Jim and his team would work with you to get trials set up for those things. So it's great. And as Jim mentioned, he will be at WIMTA. Um, probably doesn't even, it's not a big exhibit hall. So I don't know if you know your booth number, but
I don't have it right off the bat, but I will have Dove chocolates and truffles. So feel free
Yeah.
to stop by and save me from myself. Because if I'm there by myself, I'll be digging into those. But I appreciate your time. WiLS has been a fantastic partner, and they give outstanding promotional pricing.
Yes,
Sarah and
we
her
do.
team
Thank
beat me
you.
up all the time to make sure that we get the best pricing to their members. So we appreciate the
Yes.
partnership. But I'm here to help. I'm a real person, and I'm right here in your state, wanting to make sure that you get the best support and the best answers to the questions that your members might have.
Thanks so much, Jim. And I'm not seeing any other questions. So we'll go ahead and thank you again for sharing. This was great. We need to do this more often.
Sure.
And we'll share the webinar, the recording of the webinar out shortly.
Sounds good. Well, thanks
Thanks,
again.
everyone.
Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.